Welcome to Global Incident Report, only place on YouTube where the headlines are weirder than your search history and the truth is definitely stranger than fiction. We've all seen birds on a wire and sneakers hanging from power lines, but over the weekend, Vancouver residents woke up to a new level of how on earth did that get there? In Vancouver, Canada, an ordinary traffic intersection turned into the final level of a video game after a motorcycle and a BMW had what police are politely calling a collision, but what witnesses are probably calling, "You have to come see this." Because somehow, the motorcycle ended up dangling from a traffic light. Not beside it. Not under it. Not leaning against it. Hanging. From the sky. Like Spider-Man quit Marvel and became a Harley Davidson. Imagine driving to work, half asleep, clutching your morning coffee, when you look up, expecting to see a red light. Maybe a bird. Instead, you see an entire motorcycle swaying gently in the breeze like Vancouver just installed modern art overnight. Reports say the motorcycle collided with a BMW before launching itself into low Earth orbit. Now, we are not scientists, but that bike clearly looked at gravity and said, respectfully, no. The BMW driver walked away completely unharmed, which honestly sounds like the most BMW driver thing ever. Meanwhile, the motorcycle said, you know what? I've always wanted to be a chandelier. And can we talk about the city workers for a second? Imagine getting that radio call. Steve, we need you downtown. What happened? There's a motorcycle stuck at a traffic light. You mean beside it? No, Steve. On it. At first, they probably showed up with a broom. 5 minutes later, yeah, dispatch? Send a bigger ladder. 10 minutes later, bigger. Eventually, somebody had to arrive with a cherry picker, looking like they were rescuing a cat that made very poor life decisions. Now, on a serious note, the motorcyclist was seriously injured in the crash, but thankfully is expected to recover. And honestly, when they tell this story later, nobody is going to believe them. I got into an accident. Oh no, what happened? My motorcycle became a weather balloon. Doctors are probably going to walk into the recovery room asking, so, you want to explain how your bike ended up auditioning for Fast and Furious 37? Meanwhile, Vancouver police are still investigating exactly how the motorcycle achieved the altitude usually reserved for drones and poorly supervised fireworks. The bike hit a hidden Mario Kart ramp. We've seen cars in ditches. We've seen trucks stuck under bridges. But this? This is the first time a motorcycle has looked at public transportation infrastructure and said, I live here now. The good news is the rider is expected to be okay. The bad news? That traffic light now has separation anxiety. Vancouver police are still investigating exactly how the bike achieved orbit, but for now, let's just be glad the only thing still hanging is the mystery of how that BMW driver stayed so spotless. You know those action movies where a car gets sliced in half and somehow the driver walks away in slow motion while explosions happen behind them? Yeah, apparently Michigan said, let's try that in real life. Meet 19-year-old Demi Veasley from Sterling Heights, who experienced the world's worst driving lesson and somehow lived to tell the story. Earlier this week, Demi was driving through the intersection of Hall Road and Shaner when a speeding driver came flying through at an estimated 80 miles per hour. At that speed, even GPS gives up and starts praying. The impact was so massive that Demi's Kia Optima literally got split in half. Not dented. Not crushed. Not totaled. Cut in half. Like somebody accidentally turned on Divide Object in Photoshop. The back half of the car rolled away into a parking lot like, alright, I'm outta here. Meanwhile, the front half stayed sitting in the intersection, with Demi still in the driver's seat. And here's the craziest part, the side around her was almost untouched. At this point, automobile factories need to study this Kia because apparently, it transformed into a protective cocoon made of pure luck and Detroit engineering. Witnesses probably looked at the scene like, where's the rest of the car? Imagine calling insurance after this. Insurance agent, so how bad is the damage? Demi. Well, technically I now own 2 smaller cars. Even more unbelievable? Demi walked away with only soreness and a few bruises. That's it. No major injuries. No broken bones. Just the kind of soreness you get after sleeping wrong. Except your car exploded into separate zip codes. Honestly, this might be the strongest 19-year-old on Earth. Most people hit one pothole in Michigan and need emotional support for 3 business days. Thankfully, Demi is expected to recover fully, and honestly, that's the best news possible after a crash that looked like it came straight out of a Hollywood stunt rehearsal. Meanwhile, somewhere out there, that Kia Optima deserves a retirement ceremony, and probably its own documentary on Netflix. You know how people complain that garbage trucks come a little too close to the curb? Well, one trash truck in Lorton, Virginia, apparently said, "Curb week. I'm going inside." Residents in Fairfax County woke up to a scene that looked less like a neighborhood and more like the final boss level of a home renovation show after a trash truck crashed directly into a house. Not near the house. Not into the mailbox. Not onto the lawn. Straight into the house. At this point, the truck basically skipped the driveway and applied for residency. The crash happened around 11 a.m. near Henry Knowles Drive and Buttermere Heights, when the driver reportedly told first responders that the truck's brakes failed. Brake failure becomes everybody's problem immediately. Neighbors said they heard a massive boom and probably looked outside expecting to see maybe a fallen tree or a thunderstorm. Instead, a garbage truck was halfway through somebody's living room like, "Good morning, do you have any recyclables?" Thankfully, nobody was home at the time. The family's kids were safely at school, and the driver also walked away unharmed, which is incredible considering this thing came dangerously close to hitting a gas line and an electrical transformer serving the neighborhood. Neighbors were shocked. One resident said, "It could have been much worse." And they are absolutely right, because this whole situation was one spark away from becoming a disaster movie called Trashformers: Revenge of the Brakes. Now imagine being the homeowner getting that phone call. "Hey, so your trash got picked up." "Oh good. And also your house." Authorities say the home is now considered hazardous, meaning the family can't even go inside to grab their belongings. Which means somewhere in that house sits a completely normal untouched item, maybe a sandwich, maybe a TV remote, while a garbage truck is casually redecorating the kitchen. Meanwhile, police are now investigating whether this crash was caused by a mechanical issue or driver error. The good news? Nobody was hurt. The bad news? This trash truck officially took house pickup service way too seriously. Thanks for hanging out with us. You guys are awesome for sticking around. If you think this news was absolutely exciting, hit subscribe and tell us what you think in the comments. Seriously, stay connected so you're the first to know when the weirdest news takes over. Until then, keep smiling. Life is weird, but it's better when we're laughing about it together. See you in the next one.